This is Korith Landwalker, and this afternoon we're going to be spending a couple of hours in Star Citizen. Now, I was unable to stream Star Citizen last week. I had an unexpected and somewhat less than welcome request to do some work last weekend. And since that's the kind of thing that allows me to finance buying starships and things like that, it's something I had to take care of. Unfortunately, it also meant that I missed out on the beginnings of the brand spanking new 3.11 patch. Now, the 3.11 patch has a couple minor things to, well, maybe not minor, that's really the wrong word to use. But it does have a number of things that were added to it which may or may not impact the gameplay that we see today. For starters, we have a new starship that was introduced, or a set of starships, the Origin 100I series. They're supposedly being marketed as starter ships. Whether or not they actually fit as a starter ship, that would have to depend on the person playing. Also added has been some cargo decks onto a number of space stations. They are, at the moment, primarily visual only, but if you know where to look, you can actually purchase a couple things there. They have the weapons free here mentioned. What that's referring to is the reduction of the effectiveness of the armistice zones around space stations. You can actually fire and shoot at people there. Well, let's go over here to explain it a little more thoroughly. There's a green zone that prevents the use of weapons near landing zones and points of interest, but they are removed from space stations, which means you can shoot at people. That said, the law tends to pay attention to things like that, and, well, as it says right here, you shoot within proximity of a space station, and you'll have size 10 security turrets shooting at you. So, how effective that is, hard to say. If you're a criminal already, who cares? Well, you might care because they're size 10 guns. Also, they have a little statement here about rocking the boat, which is basically force effects. If you happen to be standing around on a starship and make sudden turns, you may be affected by little things like Newton's third law. And that'll happen, as a little picture here shows, if you happen to be next to an explosion, like, say, a grenade. They did some work on the maps for the planets and moons to make them more attractive. They introduced the aforementioned grenade launchers and added an improved ability to throw objects, which include, most tellingly, hand grenades. They've added some things to the Pleasure Prison facility. Basically, it seems to be a commissary where you can spend the merits you've gained there. I'm presuming they mean merits and not credits, but I could be wrong. And they've made escaping a little more challenging. How more challenging? I really couldn't tell you. I've yet to have a successful escape myself, so it's probably going to be plenty of it. And finally, as they mentioned here, they've did a little work on the front end UI. Let's go switch back to that in a moment. There we go. Basically, it looks pretty similar to what it used to look like, but they've removed apparently Flash from the front end interface and have gone with their building blocks technology. Effectively, not much has changed on the front end here. So let's hop into Stanton, see where things are at, see where I am at, and we'll see if we can do something interesting. Speaking of interesting, there are a couple other little additions that weren't mentioned specifically for 3.11. And that's to celebrate the month of October and Halloween. Depending on if you're willing to do certain things in the game or pay certain amounts of money, you can get some very creepy helmets. For example, on the RSI web store right now, you can purchase, well, I could call them teddy bear helmets, but I feel like that's underselling them just a little bit. They're, well, let's see. I think perhaps it would be good if I got a picture up to show that. Let's show something that will resonate in nightmares from now till who knows when. There are your helmets. The center helmet is the aforementioned teddy bear helmet, which if you run into someone in a dark alley wearing this, yeah, this is the kind of thing that makes people have nightmares about clowns and the like. I believe they're $4 for each variety of teddy bear helmet on the RSI Pledge store. There are 5 or 6 of the helmets, and there is a discount if you buy them all at once. On the left is, well, supposedly based on some sort of criminal or myth or something. I didn't really pay too much attention to the lore, and I'm a bad person that way, I guess. But the upshot here is, if you want to look more traditionally scary, that is available if you visit the location called Bennyhenge. Bennyhenge is basically Stonehenge on an asteroid in the rings of Yella, and it's, instead of being rocks like Stonehenge, it is made out of big Benny vending machines. If you go there, you will unlock this helmet for your hangar. Finally, on the right-hand side, we have the Vandul helmet. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right. That's the hazard of alien names. If you happen to be messing with PvP, you may be interested in trying for this helmet. If you take out a player flying either a Vandul, well, sorry, technically it's an Esperia glaive, which is based on a Vandul ship, or if you're using an Aegis Gladius, you will get credit towards a kill. 50 unique kills, 50 unique player kills, will unlock this scary helmet for you. Pro tip, Grim Hex is a popular place to go to hunt and shoot people down for this, so if you want to get involved with the PvP and do a lot of violence and get this helmet, that is where you want to go, because there will probably be people more than happy to accommodate. Or potentially people who want to shoot you down instead. It could go either way. Okay. One more little note. It is possible that we may be joined by members of my organization, the Eternal Riders. They may or may not pop up on this stream, so if you hear a voice that isn't mine, it is probably one of my org mates. And hopefully I've worked out my microphone issues to the point where they will actually be able to interact. Hey, Legend, I'm glad you were able to stop in and at least watch or listen to the stream. Legend there is the leader of the aforementioned Eternal Riders. Unfortunately, certain technical issues are going to prevent him from joining us in battle today. But as he has mentioned in the chat here, he is here in spirit. So, I am obviously on the space station right now, and I'm pretty sure I'm at Everest Harbor. Mainly because that's where I have most of my starships. Now, along with the cargo decks, and one of the things that wasn't specifically mentioned, mic sounding great, excellent. I'm hoping that the Discord version will sound good too. I've got it set to push to talk, so that way people aren't having to deal with my stream of consciousness dialogue. Well, actually it's more of a monologue, if they don't want to. Then again, I did put myself on Gaming Channel 2, so hopefully nobody is going to go in who don't know what they're in for. Now, Along with the new cargo decks, they've also redone the interiors for a lot of these stations. This used to be all a one-level station, but now we have them broken up. We have the hangar and habitation level, which includes a burrito bar with water, presumably food. I say presumably because I can't seem to interact with that burrito. I can grab the water, and the other drinkables, but it appears that I cannot actually get food on this level. That's okay though. That does not mean the station does not have food. It just means that it's not available right there. Because you may have noticed as I was coming out of the halves that we had this wonderful sign over here. It says Interstation Transit. This is a new thing to all the space stations, and we can go either to the cargo center, the Galleria, or the hangars and habs, which is the level we are on right now. We'll take a quick stop to the Galleria, primarily because, well, I want to make sure where the food is, but also to demonstrate that it's not so different than the R&R stations that we've seen in the past. The changes are pretty minor. In this particular station, if you go upstairs, you'll see the familiar admin area where you can do your cargo trading or box deliveries. You have the locker rooms back here, I think. Oh no, this is Kasaba. All the stations have their own little layouts. They're different stores. I have no idea what these terminals are. I'm kind of curious. Can't do anything, but they look like they've been crypto keys. I don't think they're actually stackable. Okay, heading back down the stairs here. This is basically just standard layout for the shops that you'll find, and if you go down certain hallways, you'll go to the food courts. Here's the locker room. Now, for those of the criminal persuasion, there is something important to note. There are a couple stations that used to have terminals in the locker rooms where you could sell, well, not quite anything, but certainly sell some of the more illegal goods that are in the game. They are not there anymore. I don't know how long they're going to be gone. I don't know where they will come back. I'm putting the money on the cargo deck somewhere, but don't know that for sure. So once you're down here, you should be able to find somewhere that sells food. Yeah, here we go. We've got some of the energy bars here. You still cannot buy pizza. I am bitterly disappointed by that. And you really can't buy a whole lot here either, it looks like. You would think that with all this stuff here, they'd have more food you could buy. But it's pretty much the same sort of thing they had before they put it in the cargo decks. Here we go, we got the hot dogs. So you can buy hot dogs, chili dogs, and all that sort of thing. But still no pizzas. One day. One day. Alright, let's see. I'm going to try to get myself back out to the elevators. Oh, they've changed the... Oh, no, they haven't. There's a burrito bar. Yep, looks like I need to go out the other way. It'll take me a while before I get completely used to the new layouts. Even in the ones that I stick around in the most, like Everest. So we're going to head back to the elevators and take a quick peek at the cargo deck. Once I get my bearings, of course. There we are. The cargo center is the big graphical update as opposed to the space stations for the 3.11 patch. And it would be a lot more impressive if you could actually really do anything in here. Unfortunately, this is the version, I can't even call it version 0 because, like I said, it's just a location where you can do stuff, but you can't actually do the stuff yet. Is there a location? Is there a version -1 I can fly? But they've got the atmosphere here nailed down. Got all these cargo crates. Got a maintenance area, which you can't actually go any further into. It does nail down the atmosphere cargo area pretty nicely. Now, as you go further in, you'll notice an area on the right that says Cargo Services. And we've got stuff here involving rentals and logistics and supplies and Interstellar Transport Guild, which all sounds great, except, well, you can't actually do anything here. I tried talking to this guy, there's no options here. I can't actually rent anything here. Yeah, oh, hold on. Hold on. You can rent here. Oh, this is, I didn't even see this the first time when I was going through this stuff. Oh, this is great. So, and it makes sense that they would offer you the rental of a number of the medium-sized or smaller-sized cargo vessels. So you can rent yourself from here a Freelancer, Aegis Avenger Titan, or a Cutlass Black. I don't know what the pricing on these, I don't know how they compare with the pricing and the rentals on, say, Lorville or at Area 18. And I'm pretty sure none of those are available at the new Babbage's rental area because they're all into luxury ships. Now, logistics, no, you can't do anything with logistics yet. It feels like that this would be the obvious place for them to do the new trade terminals. That's still currently in the admin area. I would expect that they would move this functionality here because it makes sense. That said, not everything makes sense. Ah, here we go. I was talking about Benny Henge. This vending machine and many like it are what make up slabs of Benny Henge. I figured since I saw it, I'd point it out. So you can't do anything with logistics right now. Now supplies, this is a little more interesting because you can purchase some stuff here. You can purchase a number of shirts here, I think some pants, and a whole outfit here. Protean outfit. Clip vest, don't know about the helmet. You can pick up your Gray Cat multi-tools and bits here. Strangely, you can also do something with this, okay, rucksack core, but they're just showing the backpack, but it actually comes with a set of armor too. Chest armor. Jackets. And the one that impressed me the most was the Novikov outfit here. Although that's kind of funny, really, when you think about it. Novikov is a suit that's suited to deal with, that was really good. It's made for extreme cold temperatures. And they're selling this on a station orbiting a planet that's closest to the star of Stanton. Are any of the jackets new? I honestly don't know. They seem new to me. I don't think I've seen this jacket before, for example. Oh, no, I wanted to try on. I didn't want to buy it. Stop. I don't recall having seen this, but just because I don't recall having seen it doesn't mean it wasn't there. It just means I don't recall having seen it. Okay. Looks like I put on the whole set as opposed to just the jacket. Actually, I'm not even putting on the jacket here. That did not go anywhere near the way it was supposed to. Try on shirt? No. I want to try on. No. Okay, fine. We'll stick with what's on the hangars. They may have been around, but I don't know for a fact. I never really looked over the clothing options at Tammany & Sons in Loreville very much. And I feel that these are more or less in the same vein as those.
Hi, welcome to the store.
And you got your shoes. But if you're like me and hate trying to buy things off the rack, the simplest method is to simply go to the clothing terminals and look up stuff there. Now, all that said, right now there is a tiny problem. Oh, how about that? They did get the previews fixed. So there are a couple different Okay, they're not really fixed apparently because everything here looks identical. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so buyer beware when you're bouncing around this stuff. Hopefully a future patch will fix the previews. So the rental area and buying clothing here,
Hey, back again, I see. Welcome.
and buying rucksack cores and orbits, and apparently if you buy these gloves you're buying the Oxytorch cutter attachment. So just because it's highlighted and looks like, oh, here we go, there's a gauntlet. Just be careful when you click on something to buy, because it may or may not be what you think it is. And that is the cargo deck. Like I said, there's not a whole lot to do here yet. But what it has in spades right now is potential. I admit that you could say that about pretty much the entire game. The entire game reeks potential. So now I don't know if when they're going to actually start putting any kind of functionality into the cargo deck itself. I'd like to say that they would be working on this, but I think the big thrust right now for the next patch on 3.12 is going to be the refinery deck. And hopefully they'll have a little more functionality than what we have right now for the cargo deck, because the refinery deck feels like it would be useful for the miners. Now, they haven't gotten fancy with the elevators here. On some of the planets, like well, not the planets exactly, but the major cities, Loreville and Area 18, the elevator call buttons have changed to look similar to what they've got at New Babbage, where basically you have a panel there that says, call elevator. And hopefully more of them are going to be propagated out for 3.12. And I'm really, really hoping they don't push it back. And the reason for that will become very apparent shortly. Because first, we're going to grab a ship to fly out today. Now, I recently did some weapon upgrades for the Anvil Hornet F7C, the medium fighter. So we are going to play around with that a little bit. Pad 1. That has pluses and minuses to it. The reasoning for that will become apparent shortly. You see, in altering the stations, adding the cargo deck, it's also changed some of the hangar and landing pad layouts. And in some cases, the numbers have gone up just a little bit. Of course, we still have the infamous, the elevator's not coming yet. I must hit the button again because it probably didn't work. There we go. Now look at this. Look how far back I have to go here and get the mouse to move around. to get all the hangars and all the landing pads. That will be a lot simpler if this is replaced by a panel. I can just scroll up and down to find the hangar or pad I want to go to. So let's hope that the patch 3.12 puts the death blow on these elevator buttons once and for all. That said, they have already pushed those elevator buttons out a couple patches already, so hope, but don't be shocked if things don't quite go as hoped. Okay, this is the Anvil Hornet F7C, and this is basically the generic version of the Hornet. However, I did kind of add a couple things. You may have noticed the really big gun at the top. I picked up a ball turret to replace the cargo hold for this ship. Yeah, actually this may not be the base version, this is just a cargo version, except I took out the cargo part. So technically the only cargo I'm carrying is ammunition. And the ammunition is being fed to the guns. It also comes with two guns on each, well, one gun on each wing. I also added an identical one for the under the nose. I could have added more of a gimbal turret that would be size 1 guns. But I figured I wanted to do damage instead. After all, if I just wanted to shoot with smaller guns, I have my Arrow. I have the Gladius right now. And yeah, I guess I didn't mention that either. With that whole event thing, with the canopies opening at random and opening and closing at random is a thing right now. Hopefully they'll fix that somewhere along the line too. Otherwise they'll be flying exposed to space at irregular methods, regular times. In any case, before I got sidetracked by the canopy, because of the whole kill 50 player event going on right now, and there we go again, recognizing that perhaps not everybody has an Asperia Glaive or Aegis Gladius, we are basically having a free flight for the Gladius and the Glaive. So, if you are already a player, you have access to a Gladius and a Glaive. I do not recommend the Glaive exactly, not because it's a bad ship, because it's not. It's a pretty good ship. But the canopy on that, I'll demonstrate the canopy when we get to that point. For now, let's do a short bit of flight here. You may have noticed that I've just noticed something actually. It seems that somewhere along the line, I've lost my hands. Or to put another way, look, Ma, no hands. Luckily, I still have a head. I also don't have my armor on. This is inconvenient. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick run back over here, see if I can get the hands and armor back working. And I think this is an air shield, but I can't prove it. So let's go into Mobi-Glass and change things up a bit. I guess another thing to point out here, and this is a recent sort of thing, is that we're also celebrating the birthday of Star Citizen. The birthday was technically on October 10th, but everybody who was a subscriber since the beginning of the month had access to some new toys, specifically this undersuit, which is the Lamont undersuit, and helmet. I'm pretty sure there was a helmet. Of course, it's also possible that it went away because stuff happens. I think it's this helmet. Yeah, because it's got an opaque face. The Odyssey 2 Helmet Obsidian. Now, I also picked up something else that went on sale, which was the Jayokoso helmets, which looks it just screams racer helmet, doesn't it? And since the org is, when did I last see them? Oh, my hands used to be at the end of my wrists, but they went away. I really have to try to get my screens a little more centered here, but my second screen is an iPad, and it barely fits on my desk here with the big monitor, so one has to make allowances. Once I picked up the helmet, I just had to purchase the appropriate undersuits and armor. And when I do this, well, he hunts down players to get a Vandal helmet, and he comes out of the Stanton Sun like a Speria Prowler. All we know is he's called the Stig. I need better writers. Okay, I want to save and equip this and see if I can get my hands to come back. My hands are back. Let's give him a hand. Yeah, I'm horrible. I know. Now that I have a body again, let's take a quick peek at just how interesting the Hornet gets once you add a couple guns to it. I will grab a contract, do a bounty hunting contract, the CS4. That should tell you something right there about my confidence in my weaponry. Call to arms because it's free money. We'll pull out and see where the rendezvous beacon is. At Magda.
Takeoff complete.
And we will take off and
Landing gear raised.
do a little demonstration what a medium fighter will do. Yes, lots of hands. Very important if you want to be, flying a stick. Admittedly, I don't technically need them to fly the ship because, the game is the game. But it feels wrong not to have them at the end of the risks. Now, for those unfamiliar, we've got 8 missiles on the Hornet FC. We have 4 size 1s, which are infrared, 4 size 2s, which are EMs. Now, I'm going to make a full confession here. My ability with missiles is kind of iffy. I'm still working on figuring out all the changes that were made to the countermeasures. At some point, I'll go in depth on that, but it hasn't happened yet. Now, my guns, on the other hand, 3 of my guns are GT-220 Gatlings, which are pretty respectable ballistic weapons. And then I've got a bit of a monster Gatling up top, the Revenant. Now, most of my weapons are fixed, at least for this ship. So I'm going to actually have 2 kind of targeting things. Grim and poor Olsson were soaked in blood this morning. Well, I am kind of almost tempted to take this baby out and actually experience that. Still undecided. We'll find out. Okay, it looks like a Cutlass Black is my primary target. You can see that I've got 2 indicators about to... Ooh, didn't map my keys properly. I'll just have to use both mouse buttons. Now these guns are doing a pretty good job on the Cutlass Black. When I hit at any rate. Now, in comparison, it would take me a while to take that down in a Freelancer. But I just melted the poor guy with these guns. I regret nothing. Another Cutlass Black. And an easy 1000 UEC. Mustang, light fighter. Oops. Okay, well, while I may not have much to fear against these fighters, the asteroids are something. Actually, it's not the asteroid. Actually, it's a chunk of space station. And I've done a good chunk of damage to my ship that way. Oh, I've got other damage coming here if I don't change my speed. Oh, well, looks like it was those guys. Let's see, Ninja Chain. Ah, yes, they did do an update to distortion weaponry, and I haven't really messed with that. Distortion weapons, for those unfamiliar, are very much anti-shield weapons, I think. Anti-shields? I don't know. Do they actually affect the power supply, too? I'm not 100% sure. But they are, by all accounts, very... Uh-oh, I cannot... There we go, I'm moving forward again. For a minute there... For a hot minute there, I thought they do hit power supply. Okay, well, that's a bad thing to lose when you're being shot at. A lot of the ships out there for PvP these days are going to mix distortion weapons with ballistics, although some will use energy weapons too. And they are being apparently frightfully effective. So that'll have to be something I keep in mind with the whole idea of trying to go to Olisar or Grimheads. Because I imagine that they're going to be using those loadouts pretty heavily. And I'm reasonably sure that I don't have very much anything that would be considered an anti-distortion build. Aside from, you know, don't get hit. Alright, let's reclaim that fighter. And sure, we'll pay the cash for the expediting retrieval, because I don't feel that I got a good shake on that. Why are you not expediting? Oh. Probably because it's a medium ship and there was going to be a countdown timer anyway. Grrr. Hit the coolers and you'll turn the ship into a dead stick. Yeah, that would be bad. Coolers are basically the antifreeze of Star Citizen. You don't have coolers, your ship overheats, things stop working, you end up being a little cloud of debris. Horrible, horrible things. Okay, well, you know what? Instead of forcing people to sit there and wait and watch while we wait for the Hornet to come back, let's take a quick spin in the Glade for those who are unfamiliar. You know, now that I think about it, I really can't go back to that area because I killed the primary bounty, so... I got paid the primary bounty, and I got a secondary bounty for killing another Cutlass. Best defense is coolers with the shortest withdrawal request time. Yeah, that's more in depth than I generally go with my equipment. I mean, I know what they are from a, you know, broad standpoint, but I've never been all that good at dealing with the nitty-gritty nuts and bolts of mechanics. Had to. That's another thing they put into the game here. Sometimes it doesn't work, but often when you look at your ship and it's being tracked, you will see what pad it is on. And man, that is a big, big improvement over what they used to have. Urkel is my friend. Yes, I highly recommend the Urkel website for checking out builds. Also, Hardpoint IO, I think, is another good one. I like Urkel a little bit better. It has I guess, a more robust interface. Personal opinion. Now, another thing I like that they've done is they've also added the information on the outside what pad you're on. Pad 2. Pad 2. They finally bought those cans of paint and put on those signage. Okay. Now, speaking of the difficulties with the glaive. Now, the glaive is well, it does kind of look like an alien sort of ship, isn't it? Kind of a bird of prey look. I mean, the Prowler looked kind of bird of prey-ish, but this is a little more intimidating. Now, the crazy thing about this, and I think this works out well for the concept of Eternal Riders, is that the cockpit handles a lot like a motorcycle seat. And it lifts you up and in. But you see, that is where the problem lies. Because when the canopy opens, yeah, suddenly you're out of reach out of every scrap of your controls. Flying like this is just, awful. I mean, I'd call it horrible, except that would be an insult to horribleness. And worse yet, there's no convenient way to get back up. I mean, here I am looking around trying to mouse to something that says closed canopy or cockpit or something like that, and there is nothing here at all. Which is why the Gladius is involved with this event for the 50-player kill PvP thing. Because if you can't fight in this sort of thing, then what is the point? So they gave everybody Gladiuses, and made the event include that. But as long as you can't work that canopy cockpit thing, it's just not really workable. So I wanted to show why the glaive was kind of problematic for this event. Now, if you're lucky, and I mean if you get really lucky, you can do a flight session in it without the canopy cockpit doing its thing. I was able to do a bounty mission or two in it to, see what it was like, and when it works, it's great. It's just, I love it. Not enough to pledge for it, but I love it. That said, I'm pretty sure it's not pledgeable at the moment. Stay tuned, however. November is around the corner, and that's when they do their big expo where every ship is pledgeable. So, for those who are interested in that sort of thing, it'll be available soon. Must press button for elevator repeatedly. Now, hopefully, the expo will be bringing along something else as well. Because I am waiting, just waiting, for the Crusader Industries Mercury to finally land in game. The roadmap shows that it has an astonishingly few number of tasks left. That said, task is a kind of vague term for time measurement. The task could be put on paint coat, or the task might be make sure the ship actually runs. A task could be from a couple minutes to deal with to days. I'm pretty sure their tasks aren't so finely tuned. cut down is to be minutes. But it feels right that they would be coming along to do this for the big expo. Why not introduce a brand new, highly anticipated ship than the expo? It's something I'm looking forward to. I know there are people who are hoping it comes sooner, and really, if it came sooner, I'm not going to object, but I don't think it'll happen. I think it'll come with the expo. Unless they push the expo off to the end of November, at which point there might be riots. Metaphorically speaking. Okay, I don't feel that we had a really good chance to show off the abilities of that Hornet, since I was taken down by rocks as opposed to enemy starships. So we're going to give it another spin. Now, I'm really not 100% sure why I actually have this Hornet. Well, I have a theory. You see, I have in my hangar, my fleet, for lack of a better term, 2 freelancers. 2 baseline freelancers, I should say. I'm not going to count the... I pulled out the arrow. I pulled out the arrow instead of the Hornet. Stop laughing. Okay, well, you know what? I like flying Hornets. I like flying arrows, too. In fact, I like flying the arrows a bit better. As far as fighters go, I like the arrow more than I like the Gladius. Unfortunately, it is not very good against lots of heavy-hitting targets. So I would not want to try anything heavier than a CS3. And the only CS3 up right now is a North Rock Service Group, which means that can literally be anywhere in the entire solar system. I'm not interested in going everywhere in the entire solar system, especially given that the arrow's fuel supply is 580... You know what? I'm not really sure what units of measure the fuel is in. Liters? Megaliters? I'm pretty sure it would be a metric system thing, because everything's metric system in here. Okay, well, adapt and overcome.
Take off.
Up we go. And there's my canopy. The canopy is a problem right now with just about every ship that has a canopy. But, you know, this can be dealt with in most ships. Dilithium crystals as the fuel. No, that is an item, not a unit of measurement. It's not quite... Although I guess it could be number of crystals, I guess. Yeah, that does make sense. I am carrying 580 dilithium crystals in my ship to power the quantum drive. Please, CBS, Star Trek guys, please do not sue me. Even though the light fighters cannot handle the bigger, nastier ships out there, I do prefer flying the light fighters to the heavier fighters. I just kind of like the idea of highly maneuverable, very fast. They're basically interceptors. That means they're kind of tissue paper, balsa wood sort of things. They're designed to go after your target very quickly, engage them very quickly, and hopefully very quickly kill off your opponent. Because if your opponent is not very quickly killed off, you will be very quickly killed off. You know, I could be wrong, but I was pretty sure I had a target somewhere around here. that's a hazard sometimes in this game. Sometimes things don't spawn in like they're supposed to. I wonder if I can pick up anything with a scanner pig. Well, either I've picked up the opponent on a scanner pig, or I found a mineable asteroid here, which I can't do anything about. Oh, right. Let's take care of that before my short-term memory gets involved.
Bogey.
How about that? Scanner ping did not lead me wrong.
Bogey.
Radar lock. There you go. Come at me. Now, for the arrow, I'm basically flying stock equipment. I didn't update the weapon systems, didn't update the missiles.
Target destroyed.
And part of the reason for that is I hate spending money on components that I don't feel I really want to have, because I know that with each patch, most of those components will turn into cloud picking. Now, I've been lucky in a couple of cases here. I've managed to preserve my Carrick's quantum drive, which surprised me tremendously. And I managed to hold on to a Helix mining head. One of the reasons why my income right now is only 131k is because I finally was able to get the money I needed to purchase in-game the MISC Prospector, which will allow me to mine lots of rocks in space and on the ground and theoretically make oodles and oodles and oodles of money. If you think it's that easy, I have a bridge to sell you. It's not that easy. Well, it might be easy for some people. I will not mention their names on the stream, but they know who they are. Okay, here's a CS3. We'll go up for a CS3. CS3s are pretty good fights for a light fighter. I usually end up damaged somewhat, but I do have a fair chance of winning. Unfortunately, it also seems... Oh good, it's not right here. I was concerned that it was going to spawn right on top of me. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, don't you, Lynn? Now, the mining thing is pretty profitable if you get the right rocks with the right proximity and you're close enough to offload certain rocks. There's a mineral called quantanium, which is highly valuable. It's also highly volatile. Okay, the target is not showing up again, so let's try scan ping again. Haha. Thought you could hide, but there's no escape. Then again, I am flying against CS3, which means we'll probably have missiles that blow the hell out of me.
Bogey.
Let's see, right from here. Arnie! Okay. Now, another thing they've done is they've changed how missiles work a little bit, but they have a minimum distance. But you know, why not use the tools we've got? Unfortunately, I'm not sure I actually hit the guy. Oh no, it looks like I hit the guy because he's spinning around like crazy. It doesn't look like he has any shields left. Ooh, sorry about that guy. Actually, I'm lying. I'm not sorry about. I'm not sorry what he did. Come on, targeting button. There we are.
Target destroyed.
Whoa! Whoa, bright light, bright light. Christ, what this guy playing? I think we just had antimatter explode. Okay, here we go. Let's see some hits in. No, he certainly doesn't want to go, does he? Now you notice that my gimbal thing is like hopping all over the place. I don't know if that's because of desync or if that's because that's the way they're designed to operate now, to be less accurate,
Target destroyed.
to be less of an auto aim sort of thing. All right. That seems to have done nicely with the arrow bit. There's a little bit of cash, but since I've been talking about the prospector here, I guess it's only fair to bring it out. So let's take a quick flight back to Everest Harbor. My radar seems to be really wonky right now. The radar is basically showing a path in one direction only, so I'm having to use the HUD guides to tell me where I'm going. Luckily, it's not too hard to do this kind of thing when you're in a highly maneuverable sort of ship. Worst comes to worst, I can spin around in every rotational axis until I see it. Oh! Oh! Someone's stopping me. Is it the long arm of the law? No, it's not. There's nobody here. Or maybe there is, they're hiding. But no, nothing on my ping. Unless I got damaged and didn't know it. I wonder if one of my coolers got fried. We'll just take a quick peek. Let's see. Power, items. Wow, looks like everything's at 100%. Except the ping, that's always a 0. So I have no idea why that happened. I shouldn't be having power supply issues. Been running in and out. Let's keep the mole. Safer than Port Olisar during this event. You are not kidding. I've been spending most of my time in Hurston because all the violence tends to be happening, well, at Crusader. And I get that. You've got the landing pads there at Olisar, you've got the wide open area, you've got Grimhex, which is the proverbial hive of scum and villainy. Once again, Everest Harbor does not actually land me at Everest Harbor. Big shock there. But since there's so many people doing the gunfighting there, doing cargo or mining operations around those areas is a chancy proposition at best. Let's get that off. There we go. Okay, close in. I don't think I need the shields up anymore. We'll kick on the comms here. And now there's like 6 landing pads on here. 6 landing pads and 6 hangar bays. All of the stations, I think, have gotten more landing areas. I just don't know how many. I have not done any major tour of all of the stations.
Please proceed to assigned landing bay.
Oh, and of course it'll be on the far end. Of course, why would you be close by when you can take me all the way to the other freaking end of the station? Ah, hold on. Let's stop here for a second. I wanna... We were talking about those guns earlier, about the ones that would be shooting at you if you were a bad person. I think this is one of them. And, well, it is pretty big, isn't it? Let's take a look at the exterior view. That is a pretty hefty sized gun. Let's get a better view by flying above it. And trying not to hit it, because that would be an embarrassing way to finish this little ride. But I do want to kind of get myself angled enough so that we can get a good view on just how big that gun is. That's we can't do with my camera a little bit. Hope I'm not aiming at it. So this thing is longer than my fighter is. And I'm guessing those are emitters. I've not actually seen any of these things up close before, and I've never seen them shooting. I mean, those look like emitters. I mean, I guess they could be sensors, but I am sure not getting the impression of sensors off of them. That looks like a barrel. Which is kind of odd, because that is a very tiny barrel for the kind of death that I would expect to be unleashed by these things. What do I know? They won't be shooting at me unless I have crime stat. I do not have crime stat at this time. Of course, if I hang around with writers long enough, I'm sure it'll happen again and again and again. There are certain individuals who cannot see the end of the day without ending up in prison. Again, naming no
Landing
names.
gear deployed. Landing complete. Engines offline.
Landing complete. Have a pleasant stay.
And amazingly, the canopy stayed closed for most of that, so all is good. Alright. Let's get inside. Pad 4. See, I can see what pad I'm landing on for a change. I'm a big fan of the way they've done that now. That was my single biggest gripe about these stations, and they fixed it. And at any time now, I should reach the destination. I think it's still about maybe 3 kilometers away. Maybe 4. Okay, so we're a little far away from the terminals here. 5 kilometers. And this is why you're waiting so long for the elevators. Because you have to wait for them to travel 5 freaking kilometers. But in that perspective, it's not a question of why are they taking so long. It's more along the lines of, damn, those things are faster than I thought. Okay. Oh, looks like there's more violence in Grim Hex. Judging from the chat. Pad 4, so it's back to another 5 kilometers. Now, as far as mining goes, there are a number of places you can do the mining. Some moons are better than others. And if I were a better miner, I would undoubtedly go to the most profitable location possible, find the best rocks, make oodles of credits. But this is me we're talking about here. So I'm more along the lines of go where I can and hope that I can find something that'll actually sell for credits. I become less choosy about what is in the minerals as I am how much I'm getting out of them. So I am probably not looking at picking up any Quantanium. Plus, you know, I did mention something about Quantanium volatility. That means it will blow up your ship within a half an hour of you picking up your first piece. Now consider the fact that most of the places that you can process ore for mining are major landing zones. And consider that to get to most of those places, you have to take trains or buses. Yellow is still best. Yeah, I've heard that, and if it weren't for the fact that Yella is currently a hotbed of instant death, I would probably stop there. But since Grim Hex is orbiting Yella, and Bennyhenge is located in the rings of Yella, Yella feels like a really, really bad place to be right now. Now, another place that is known to be
Systems on.
potentially good
Sequence
is the Aaron Ring.
Shields charge complete.
The Aaron Ring does not appear on the map, or let me be more specific. It appears on the map, but not the way you think. That's another problem that's came in this patch. Sometimes the map doesn't
I have been
actually.
authorized to scan your vehicle for security purposes.
Oh, sure.
Please hold
Go
your
ahead,
vehicle
scan
and
my
stand
vehicle.
by.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm busy playing the map. Of course, last time they did something like this, they managed to slam themselves in the bottom of the landing bay and kill themselves, so. It sounds like they've gotten smarter. Yeah, they've gotten smarter.
Okay, thanks. You're clear to proceed.
It would have really sucked if I had Quantanium on board. Sure, go ahead and scan me. My cargo is about to blow up any second now. But yeah, sure, take your time and scan me down. Okay, we're going to take a Cryptum Magda. I don't recall what exactly is there. I'm just picking it because it's there. I'm an easy sell. Of course, on the other hand,
Landing gear up.
I have to actually remember that the radar is screwed up. I don't like the radar in the Prospector because it's not quite right. It's the perspective, it's anything like that. Don't go through Grim Jump Point. Want to travel to the surface. And Aaron Ring is awesome, but has a lot of trouble getting asteroids through there. Yeah, one of the bugs that have showed up, and actually it's not so much that it's recent, it's been around for a while, but it's still annoying, is that you can scan for rocks, and you will detect the rocks, but when you get close enough to start trying to get details out of them, it won't be scannable. You can scan their location, but not their attributes. If you don't have their attributes, you can't mine them. And that's insane. There is a ticket on the issue council about that, and I did contribute to that legend. So, because I have experienced this myself, so I could justify doing it.
Attention.
Oh, nice.
Scan your vehicle for security. Please hold your vehicle and stand by.
Did I do it? No, I didn't. Up your security, Hurston people. Just for giggles.
Quantum travel complete.
Okay, if you can scan me from the other side of the planet, go for it. I hate you, Hurston Security. I hate you so much. Okay, well I think I've remained stationary long enough. I will undoubtedly discover once next time I'm at a fines terminal that I have 20 freaking thousand credit fine waiting on me. Joke's on you guys, I'm not paying the 20k fine for something that you guys decided to do the second I was quantum jumping. Grrr. Oh, there we go. Well, guess what, guys? I ain't paying you. Go ahead and throw a crime stat on me. I'm not afraid. It's not like the Eternal Riders haven't gone to prison before on a zillion different occasions. Okay, let's get the VTOL in, because it's a little easier to not crash on the surface of the moon. I tend to prefer mining on the day side of a moon for obvious reasons, so I can see where I'm going. So, step 1. Break out my scanner. Do a pulse. See if anything appears. And I've got a couple things appearing, actually. The ones with the big cubes are the ones that I like, because those are the ones that are ship minables. In other words, they will have things that the prospector can pick up. The smaller ones, that tend to be smaller and more rectangular, they tend to be hand minables. Actually, let me rephrase that. They may not be hand minables, they might be rock minables, because the rock mining, you know, I hate it when it happens. I fly towards the destination. Oh, but there's still a rock here, so let's see what's in here. I'm gonna kill the scanner here. Oh, and it's even spawning properly, so let's open up my mining apparatus and tell me what's in there. 14% diamond, 47% quartz. I'd kind of like a little bit more diamond there to be worth going after. On the other hand, this is me we're talking about, and I'm not likely to see anything better, so let's see if I can get at least a pure diamond out of this as opposed to, you know, diamond plus inert materials. Gotta get myself in a little closer so I can get in range of my mining laser. And down a little bit. Hopefully it does seem to be a little windy, so there might be drift going on here. Now there are two modes to the mining laser. First, there's fracture. If you can highlight this in orange, that means you've got to break it apart. And I'll just increase the throttle. And what I want to do is get the rock energy level into the green, but not into the red. Depending on what is in the rock, sometimes that green is very, very big. Sometimes that green is very, very tiny. Unsurprisingly, the valuable stuff tends to be in rocks with a very, very tiny green. Especially if the name of the mineral is montane. Let's speed things up a tad. Now there is a bounce around that seems to happen nowadays when you're working with the mining laser, which I'm not all that much of a fan of. And I can't help but wonder if there's a setting that I can turn off to stop that from happening. I'll have to look into it sometime, just in case. Yeah, that rocket level's getting up there. Let's ease down the throttle. And bang! Cracks open. Now, usually, when you crack them open the first time, they're going to crack open into things that you got to break down even further. That one is useless. It has inert materials. This one is useful because it's 50% diamond. Oh, I've accidentally kicked off to an inert material one, so I gotta make sure I mine the right one here. So let's break this open. If I'm really lucky, it'll break into fragments that have 100% diamond. Oops. That is going up way too fast. So I obviously put way too much laser power in there. Mining these rocks is something that is as much art as it is science. Plus, if you pray to the patron saint of mineral mining, that doesn't hurt either. Okay, what have we here? You'll see that this guy is now a purple rock. That means I can extract it. That's all quartz though, I don't want quartz. This one is all diamond, and I do want all diamond, so I'm going to swap over to extraction mode. And I'm going to extract all the tasty diamonds out of here. See, this one, also all diamond. Oops. So let's get all that out of there. What's this one? 94% diamond. Well, you know what? That's good enough for me. I get a little bit of quartz with that too, but I'm going to get almost no inert material, which is good. And another hunk of quartz, which I could care less about. Let's take a look at some of those other chunks. I'm not sure I'm going to find anything good on them, but let's be thorough. 70% diamond. Well, I think that one's going to be our next contestant. That one's all quartz. And this one is inert
Scan
materials.
complete.
So we've got a 70% diamond in here. That is certainly worth my time. It's certainly worth my time with my extremely low expectations. Too fast, too fast. Drop it down, drop it down. Fun fact is, once the energy level gets to the green, suddenly it becomes a lot less stable. It will jump around like crazy. So it's very easy to see it slowly grow into the green zone. And then once it goes into the green zone, it will do its absolute best to jump into the red. That's a bad thing. 100% diamond? Oh my. That's 100% quartz. Not so fun.
Scan initiated.
One falling down here, 100% diamond. I may not be getting huge value here, but at least it's a non-zero amount. I'm not picking up a whole lot in the way of dirt. Decisions. Well, you know what? The quartz will sell. It's worth the diamond.
Scan
Okay, that's it for this rock. And, oh, we have another fragment. Oh, that's all inert materials. Now, despite the fact that diamonds sound like they should be valuable, they're really not. At least they're not the big money makers. You want to go over you want to get things like vexillite or terranite or laranite or agresium. Those are the ones that have big moolah attached to them. So it's probably not a surprise that they're hard to find in any decent quantities. And again, I've got to split into two here. I wonder if this means I'm going to still see the third rock in the center. Well, it was worth a hope. Well, there is that one up there. That one's 2,000. This one's 2,000. Choices. That one is 2,000. Okay, well, you know what? We'll just go in a nice triangle here. And there it is. Start slowing myself down. I find that I overshoot my rocks an awful lot. Part of it's probably because I'm trying to move down, forward, in multiple directions at once. On the other hand, I suppose if I turn around now, I'll save myself turning around more later. Let's see what's in this rock. Obsidian. That's promising. And face the night. Face the night's not bad, but 1% is not worth the effort it will take to crack open. Plus, there's an awful lot of inert material in there. Inert material is basically dirt. Nobody buys dirt. Well, maybe when the pioneer ships come in, they start making colonies and need to. Well, no, I can't see that happening there either. Nope, dirt is absolutely, positively, completely worthless. You want to avoid situations where you're picking up huge amounts of inert material, because then you've done something wrong. Unless the mineral involved with it is something really, really valuable. Let's see, Phasonite never breaks right for like. Yeah, I don't really have too much luck on any of the high-end materials, honestly. I'll end up with like 1 or 2% of those things. They'll usually be mixed with huge amounts of inert material. I'm not going to say that the rocks are out to get me, but they're certainly not making life simple. Scan. 4.73%. Again, it's not worth it. 4% is, I'm going to get a whole lot of dirt on that. That's just not worth the abuse. I mean, even for me with my low expectations, that's just not worth it. So that brings us to our third in this triangle. Hopefully I'm heading towards the one I didn't scan as opposed to the one I already did. It is painfully easy for me to lose track of what direction I've already gone. Oh, no wonder it was so slow. Up the velocity meter. Oh, there we are. Agresium and Laranite usually break well. I'll have to take your word for that because my success rate in finding Laranite or Agresium is painfully pathetic. Okay, I have not scanned this. Oh! I think we've gotten the At this point, you need to stay on this line, Legend. Bellamano, welcome! Sometimes gold and titanium pays more than diamond. If you can get them in the right quantities, yeah, I'd have to agree with that. Quantity and percentage counts. Really, as long as you can get to the point where you're not picking up huge amounts of dirt, that's not a bad thing. Let's get something a little closer. 18% on a 61, yeah. And fortunately, one of the things I had managed to still hold on to after the big patch was the Helix mining laser, which makes doing these really high mass rocks doable. That said, I'm going to still play a KD because I see the green zone is awfully close. But I can't play a 2 KD because, well, it's a big rock, and big rocks require more energy. So, hopefully I can keep it in the green zone because otherwise it is going to explode enough to blow me to tiny, greasy chunks. %. 80%. Oh, we can do it. We can do this. Yeah, that's how we want to break them. Now let's see. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. I know you can overclock from the ship monitors as well, and I was doing that when I was using non-helixes. But for a helix, I expect better out of. Ooh, I like this rock. 998 kilograms? Megagrams? You know, they give us these values and they don't tell you the measurement. It doesn't matter. It's big, it's 100%. I like this one. And I'll have to be very careful too because, again, the green zone is awfully small. Well, not as small as Montanium, but still pretty small. And I want to be real careful with this. I don't want to lose this rock. This thing is just too good. Okay, time to extract. This is possibly the best rock I have ever had the privilege of getting at. So you know what that means. I can almost guarantee a 30k will be incoming. I mean, there's no way that I can get away with this good a rock and selling it before the server crashes. And this is a beautiful rock. Better if I go so after this rock. I think you are 100% correct, especially since I'm even now at 85% capacity. Yep, I'm going to be very full. But let's see if I can't sneak out a bit more out of this rock. Let's see if there's any that's the inert material one, right? Is there any more greasing to be had? Or was that the best I'm going to do? Inert materials. Okay, there's 16% of greasing in that one, so I think I might as well top out with that one, unless this has better. So This rock is going to be my next fracture contestant.
Scan complete.
We'll grab what I can out of that and head back to Lorville. Alright, let's be gentle with the laser throttle. Laranite tends to congregate like that too, Legend? That concentrates the fragments?
Scan initiated.
I like that sound. Let's see if this will do the same thing.
Scan
Inert.
complete. Extraction mode on. Scan
More inert.
complete.
Oh, the odds are looking better. 55% Elysium.
Scan complete.
Let's check the last one just in case. I don't think it's going to be any better, but it's always best to make sure.
Scan complete.
Easy 50k. Yeah, I think you're right there. I think this is going to be one of the more profitable trips I've had.
Scan complete.
Let's fill her up.
Warning. Storage full. Fracture
Storage
mode
full.
on.
That sounds like the key signal to get out of Dodge. Turn off the VTOLs. Go more vertical. Get myself to the point where I can start plotting a course to Hurston. And then the real terror begins. Trying to land in one of Lorville's hangars. The hangar door issues that came up with the last big patch have sadly persisted into this patch. And it looks like that I can't do a direct course, so I'm going to have to bounce around an orbital marker. Let's see. Here we are. So hangar doors are still a bit of an issue, except for maybe Levski. Levski is, yeah, right there, Levski hangar doors, they play nicely. I don't know what it is about or is it Lorville? I don't know where it is about the hangar doors at the space stations. All I know is they are being royal pains to the gluteus maximus. On the other hand, my instincts, honed from many cargo hauling trips, scream at me to use the closest available port because of 30k potential. So, and I'm swinging the wrong way. I hate the prospector radar like fire. Why don't I sell in the harbor? Can you sell inside the harbor? Last I checked, they didn't have a refining terminal. Did something on that change? Because if I can sell these at Everest Harbor. Ah, okay. Now I have hopes. They're talking about refinery decks in the next big patch for 3.12. And I'm hoping that'll mean you can take mining hauls to these refinery decks and sell them there, which would be a lot easier. They're coming. The refinery decks are coming. Whether or not they'll actually do what I'm hoping they'll do, or if they'll just look pretty like the cargo decks right now, I don't know. Certainly my life would be a lot easier if Everest Harbor would do that. The only space station I know of that has a refinery terminal is Port Olisar. And I think we all know why Olisar is not perhaps the best place for that right now.
Quantum travel complete.
Now with a whole bunch of people thinking, I still need 40-some kills to get my Vandul helmet. You play from Olisar? Perfectly respectable. Olisar is a great place. I like Port Olisar. It has pretty much everything you might want, especially if you're just starting out. Because it's got clothing, it's got armor, it's got weapons, it's got ship components, it's got trade terminals, it's got refinery terminals. There are great stuff there. Usually go with Prospector on Yella. Yeah, Legend does that too. He's a fan of Yella. The only problem I have with Yella right now, like I said, is the fact that it's pretty much right next door to the PvP capital of the game, with that Van Duel helmet going on. 50 individual player kills. I don't personally object to being one of those player kills if I'm not hauling a cargo or carrying a load of agresium. That was the best cargo haul in my life. And I can't bring up the comms here, so I'm going to have to use the Mobi-Glass comms and hope I don't crash on the ground while I'm doing this.
Please proceed to assigned landing bay.
Let's see, do I got my VTOS? Let's get the VTOS on. Oh! The landing tunnel is way out of my way. Let's turn around fast. Legend, you got your 50. Awesome. So hopefully... Have you been able to check your hangar today? See if you've got your helmet in? I thought Fridays were supposed to be one of the days that they would do that. But I don't know how far behind they may be. Let's see. Ragtail didn't found that much PvP. A lot of people farming together for that. I have noticed that. I've seen videos where people would have a carnage party where they would just line up in a row right in front of a Gladius and let the guy in the Gladius just mow them all down, then rinse and repeat. Check this morning with no helmet, I take it. Well, let's hope Monday is better then. Okay, let's get my nose up a bit. Once I'm through the tunnel, I should be able to see which of those hangars is the one I should be landing in. It's a safe bet that it's not the one with that prospector going in. Okay, I'm actually heading right down towards it. Unfortunately, I'm also heading down towards it really, really fast. Level myself off. Hop into third person for a minute. Okay. And now for the real challenge. Flying down hangar and see if it closes its doors first. Oh, that prospector looks like he's having a hell of a time. I'm hoping that I have an easier time. Let's take a look at where I stand. Oh, I'm actually in pretty good shape here. As long as the doors aren't closing, I should be okay. I hear doors closing. I knew that was going to happen. I hate you, Hurston ATC. Yeah, landing gear I tend to get down when I'm later in the process. Once I'm in the bay, it's something that I kind of picked up from landing Carracks.
That request has already been granted.
Yes, I know that request has been granted. And if you kept the doors open, I wouldn't keep bugging you. Yeah, it'd be nice if there was a counter about those PvP kills, wouldn't there? And obviously there is a counter, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to keep track of you. But that's not available for mere players to see. Alright, we are almost in, so now I'll drop the landing gear down.
Landing gear down.
Gently, gently.
Landing successful.
Landing complete. Have a pleasant stay.
And at this point, I am now safe from the evil 30k. Now that I am nice and secure, my ship is here, 30k's can go and buzz off, as they say. Let's see how well that agresium is done for me. There, yeah, let's see if I can get myself turned around so I actually go in the right direction. Now, here's an example. This used to be the same buttons you would see on Everest Harbor, but now we have the call elevator button. And I expect to see that propagated to all the space stations, not horribly distant future. Sadly, they have not done that for the interior yet. Luckily, Tisa Spaceport doesn't have nearly as many options to scroll through. And I don't think Area 18 has that many either. And while New Babbage has more, they've got the new elevator buttons already, so no worries on that end. Legend has verified that calling for a landing still saves the ship's state with the cargo and all that. Excellent. There was some question as to whether or not that would still work, but now we have confirmation. That's one of the ways that cargo haulers try to preserve their cargo against the evil 30K. Now, when you're selling off mining goods, you don't do it to the central business district in Orville. You have to go to the Metro Center, whose train I have just missed. So much like real life. Luckily, the difference between Star Citizen and real life is I can expect another train real soon, as opposed to having to wait 5 or 10 minutes for the next bloody train. Okay, that was odd. Just dropped from 12 seconds up to 50 seconds. Well, you know, the counters are just one of those bugs that you live with. That's not exactly a high priority thing. Hey, it looks like Cap is online. Let's get him in party.
Whether it's low access to defensive weapons, Paul Lassalle is the right leader for the right time.
Yay. Party works. Ah, Cap is watching the Twitch as well. Thanks, Cap. Always glad to have another one of my fellow Eternal Riders online and watching. Let's see, Legend is coming to Lorville with a carrack full. The ATC took control and sent him into the ground. Ow, that's not good. Alt F4 came back and sold the cargo. Oh, that's actually pretty lucky. I would have expected to crash into something. So, that's a gift. Cap is heading to Aberdeen in his Valkyrie. He's doing the Valkyrie. Oh. Rock running? Because it occurs to me that the Valkyrie has a cargo bay large enough to handle a rock mining vehicle. And that might be, yep, that's exactly what he's doing. I was going to be going for a rock. I was saving up the cash to do that. But then I decided I was going to kit out my Anvil Hornet a little bit. Make it a more scary fighter. And that's kind of set me back on my rock acquisition. But if this mining run has done as well as I'm hoping, that may not be the case for long. There we have our refinery terminals. Let us see just how good this run was. $62,000. That is a pretty good run. Only 2% of inert materials, well, 2.5%ish. 2% of quartz, and the rest of it was diamond and agresium. That, for me, is a good run. Is it possible to join me? We can go rocking or moling. Well, I'm only going to be streaming for another 20 minutes, although I'll probably be online in the game for longer, so yeah, I'm game. Sure. I'm willing. Where are you located? Bellamano? I'm current. Let's see. Next time. That'll work too. And if you're interested in our organization, the Eternal Riders, just do a !org on chat, and if I've set my commands up properly, it should show the Discord for our organization. Or actually, maybe not the Discord. It might be showing us the Star Citizen page. I can't recall for sure. Hopefully, I did the command right. Streamlabs is still one of those things that occasionally give me trouble. Ah, it worked great. Yes. So that's where we have an application to the organization. I think we've got a link to the Discord on that page somewhere. I'm pretty sure we do. Can't prove it. Somewhere along the line, I should probably put a link in the Discord too, or something. That's Streamlab commands are something that I'm still getting used to learning. I have a referral code command in there for the, like, on the occasion that someone who hasn't played the game happens to stumble on the screen and is interested. What I really should do is I should put that as part of my overlay. Well, I can do that somewhere along the line. And let's see, do I have anything else out there that's floating around as far as screen commands? I had one, I think, for one of the events. I gotta go through my commands again. I use them so rarely, so... But I'll get around to it. I'll get a Discord link in there somewhere along the line. At that point, I'll be able to have people on the chat as well, locally speaking. Yes, there is a link to the Discord and the org documentation on the RSI site. Excellent. I was pretty sure it was still there. I couldn't remember for 100% certain. Which kind of says something about my tiny short-term memory. Really, I'm lucky I remember the layout of org. I might be exaggerating slightly. That's it. Twice. Yeah, thank you, Cap, about the run. That is arguably the best run I've had in a prospector ever. I will never again see that good a return. Even if I were to get Quantanium, it would never be that good. Oh, right. Why am I doing that when, yeah, Legends Cache is, well, at the risk of saying, sounding trite, his cache is legendary. Yes, I am bad. But I have noticed that I do now have the money for the rock. However, I'm not 100% certain that the rock is a new deal. I'm kind of thinking it's not. But on the outside chance that I'm wrong, because that has been known to happen. Aegis, Anvil, Argo, Greycat. Rock! Yeah, Bellamano, if you can see the chat on my screen, you'll see that Cap is more than happy to do some rock runs with you sometime. So feel free to add Cap to your friends list, and you two can go tearing up the moons and hauling down huge profits. Meantime, I'm going to buy my rock.
Good in Duchess. No rush like buying a new ship.
Huzzah! And now I've blown my finances into tiny little bits. Again. Oh hey, what is the point of having a credits in your account if you don't spend them?
We're sorry. You exceeded the allotted time to depart. We will have to return your ship to storage.
Yes, of course you want to return my ship. Okay, since we want to monkey around with the rock a little bit at least, we'll do a quick wrap things up for the day, just a quick demo. We'll see, we'll take something quick and fast, and all my quick and fast is currently hiding somewhere other than
For
here.
your safety, please vacate the area.
Okay, we'll grab the Gladius. All I need to do is just get to a vehicle terminal. I don't even have to leave the planet actually if I just want to spawn thing. Hangar 9. 9. Yeah, see, or if you look at the Gladius right now, what it should be showing me is where it is, what hangar it's on, but it's not. So it's not working everywhere where you can see where the ship has landed. But it'll get there. It'll get there. That is my hope. All right. We are going to do a quick run to one of the locales that have a vehicle spawn point. And I think Edmund will have one. HDMS Edmund. Now, the thing I love about the Gladius is you can actually see yourself turning everything on.
Systems green.
Someday they may do that with all the other ships, but I suspect they're not doing it yet because they're still fiddling around with canopies and stuff. Let's get communications up. Call the good folks over at Lorville to open up the hangar door.
You are clear to launch.
We'll start taking off. I think it's open wide enough. Up and out. And I look for the exit tunnel so that the folks at the air traffic control don't have to fit and put me on autopilot, put me into a building. Not gonna bring the cuddy to haul it around. Well, you see, there is a tiny minor inconvenience about taking the cuddy to haul around the rock. And that tiny inconvenience would be, I don't have a cuddy. Freelancer all the way, baby. Now, I could put it in my Carrack. Heaven knows I've put other things in my Carrack on a regular basis. But for now, I just want to spawn the vehicle and take it out for a quick spin, get an idea of the handling and all that. And we'll time to buy a Valkyrie from Cap. I am not going to get enough in-game credits to buy a Valk. Well, not unless I turn into legend and, you know, I'm sitting on oodles and oodles of credits. Let's pull out target Edmund. Try to target Edmund. And we'll do a quick hop, skip, jump. Hit their Platinum Bay. There's another reason to hit Edmund too, because I'm pretty sure that Edmund is on not exactly an island, but it's protruding out into the one of the watery areas of Hurston, and I'm always impressed by the water effects. So, of course, it's getting dark on this side, so we're not going to see that. Oh, it's a nice theory.
Quantum travel complete.
Okay, I'm going to hit the set route again so that I can see where my destination is. Yeah, give a Valkyrie for free for each 890 purchase. No, right now the 890s to purchase available are the Origin packs. And unfortunately, I don't do nearly enough Origin ships to make me want to melt down all my other ships to pick up. Legend is only at 500,000 right now after refitting all his ships. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I don't go too overboard on components, because I get tired of having to rebuy expensive components for my ship. So that's one of the reasons why I tend to stay with stock components. Someone is down there. Someone in a Cutlass. Someone is doing it up, but it's also got an unknown owner, which means that Cutlass is probably abandoned. And he's got medical supplies on it. I wonder if he logged out. That's really what I'm more concerned about, is that he's on one of the landing pads. Let's see if he's on the landing pad that okay, I can fit on the other one. he's not even on a landing pad. Well, that simplifies life. I'm going to be nice and use a small landing pad. Gear down. And yes, there is a Platinum Bay.
Landing gear deployed. Landing complete. Engines offline.
We'll turn everything off, just to be precise about it. And we're going to take a quick jog over to the Platinum Bay station. Huff, 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 huff. On the other hand, my heart rate's being fine, so hey, I can run like this all the time. Open sesame. The other detail is that when you land somewhere like here, instead of a landing pad, you see uninitialized. Alright, let's look for Gray Cat Rock. Ooh, that's right, I blew up my buggy somewhere when I was tearing around a new Babbage. I should do something about that. Let's file a claim for that, so whenever I decide to break the buggy out again, it'll be right there. Alright. For the first time on one of my streams, the Gray Cat Rock. At the risk of throwing another one of those awful puns out, it's time to rock and roll. I am horrible. I concede this. I spend too much time around people who do this sort of thing reflexively. It's like a disease. Did that thing bounce? I thought I saw it bouncing. Now, if I recall correctly, it is... Oh, it is bouncing. Oh, that can't be good. If I recall correctly, it's got a rear entry. Yes. Oh, that's not what I thought it was. Oh, it's a cargo bay. Oh, interesting. I was not aware of this. Interesting. They've redone. That's right. They said they were going to do something about redoing the cargo stuff, but I hadn't realized they'd actually done it. Let's close that back up again. Let's try to close that back up again. Oh, there it goes there for a second. Closed. In the new version, you can now access the cargo from the back and put it in your suit. It only came functional in 3.11. Ah, well, see? This is what comes with not reading all the patch notes completely. Ah, okay, you enter from the front. Okay. I did not expect that. Ah! Okay, well, this is probably not the best start. Let's turn on the engine. And the canopy opens up.
Systems activating. Systems on.
That, well, this is going to be... You know, I could have sworn there was some sort of trick about this, about turning the engine off and all that, but, you know... Yeah, and Cap is confirming this. Power it off. Okay, well, yeah, okay, we'll do the power off then. Will the shortcut work for that?
Weapons off.
And then all was quiet and dark, with lots of blinking lights. And my canopy opening, because just like every other freaking vehicle with a canopy.
Systems activating.
Sprint clockwise and power
Systems
off.
on.
Okay, I can certainly do that. Well, apparently I cannot go. Ah, there we go. Oh, no. Oh, I've got two problems here. Not only am I on my side, but I'm stuck between those pylons. Stop opening the canopy! Oh, hold on, hold on.
Weapons off.
Not quite. Yeah, it might be easier to respawn it, yeah. Let's hope I don't die from stepping outside or sideways. Yeah, Platinum Bay, I'd like to make a complaint. Oh yeah, it's Cycle airlock. I'm not entirely sure why they bothered putting airlocks on Hurston. I mean, you don't need the spacesuit. You don't have to breathe on this stuff. It should be perfectly fine. Gray Cat Rock. Gray Cat Rock. Take 2. I wonder if the old one will still be there, sitting on its side. With my luck, it'll still be sitting there and it'll block my way out. Alright, Great Cat Rock, my old nemesis. Let's see if we'll cooperate this time. I'm not bouncing this time, so that's a promising sign.
Systems activating.
Alright.
Systems on.
Here we go. Rock's a pretty decent size. It looks... There's canopy again. It's definitely bigger than the Gray Cat Buggy, but not horribly bigger. I mean, it's bigger as far as height goes, definitely.
Thank you. Please
And it's certainly wider because of those tires. Mining mode works just like a spaceship with mining mode. You got your fracture, you've got your collection. Scanners work just like they do in just about every other vehicle. I'm not going to find anything on here because I'm on Hurston and I'm in the Armistice zone, so I'm pretty sure I could not activate the mining laser here, much less find any mine. Although I kind of want to see if it will now. No, I cannot use the mining laser in the Armistice zone. Let's turn off the mining. Oops, I'm wrong. Here we go. What I don't see on here is the speedometer, so if you're trying to figure out what your top speed is in a rock, you may be out of luck. It's giving you the worst of both worlds, so you don't get to see the velocity like you would on a spaceship, and you don't get to see the velocity like you would in well, just about every other ground. That said, it does seem to handle the abuse pretty nicely. Even if its canopy opens and closes at random. It does a pretty good job on stability. Yeah, not bad. Went over those guys and stayed upright like a champ. Yeah. As far as handling goes, not bad. Not bad at all. Now, obviously, I'm pretty sure that I can't mine anything on Hurston proper, because for some reason I suspect the folks at Hurston Dynamics will look upon it very poorly about independent miners doing the work on the planet they paid oodles and oodles and oodles of credits for. Who knew? this feels like it will be a nice place to wrap up the stream for today. I thank everybody for stopping in to chat and to watch or listen. I do Star Citizen streams pretty much every Saturday, unless, of course, work decides to get involved and pester me and make me do stuff during my stream period. Usually on Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern to 3 p.m. Eastern. I also do a Star Trek Online stream on Wednesday evenings from 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern to 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern. As usual, the end times may vary a little bit depending on if I'm in the middle of something at the time. Sometimes I will go long just to finish up what I'm doing. If you're interested in the Eternal Riders, feel free to check out the !org command on the chat. It will tell you how to find out more about us. Otherwise, again, thank you for watching. It's been a pleasure having you on and chatting with you. This is Korath Landwalker, signing off.